It's Champions League night. Atletico Madrid coming to the Emirates Stadium. Look, Atletico haven't played us since the Europa League semi-finals where we got knocked out. I think it was one of Arsene Wenger's last days, last seasons, that sort of stuff. I remember the games well where they had a red card and we still couldn't, capitalise. Look, it's a massive game. The good news is, we're going to be playing with our tails up, especially with a result against Fulham, and then obviously the so-called title challengers who spent 500 million firing blanks, 007, 00 Ben 10, all that sort of stuff, lost again to Man United at home. And look, the pressure's on the Scousers, and rightly so, because they've spent 500 million in the summer, and they're looking like a poorer team than Man United at the moment. So look, it's a huge game. Atletico Madrid, we know obviously how they play. We're going to get into the preview and look and detail and identify how we can get a result against them. Now, Atletico Madrid, obviously, we know what sort of team they are, especially with the manager, Simeone. He's been there for probably a decade or longer, and he's got that one style of play where, he likes to build his team on defence and stop, start. He's going to try and frustrate the living hell out of you. But on the other hand, they've got a couple of players like Alvarez, Griezmann, who do like to, be in and around the box and like to have the possession and score a goal. So both ends of the pitch, it's going to be pretty difficult to especially break them down, because there's a few players there that have played together, and there's a lot of experience there, like Koke. And then look, this is the team they played at the weekend, and they won 1-0. So they played with a back five. Oblak is still in there. I think he's about 33, something like that now. And then they've had Llorente, Robin Lenormand, who's an upcoming Spanish defender, Jimenez, Hanko, and Gonzalez. And then Pablo Barrios, Koke, Baena, and then Griezmann and Alvarez. Look, there's not that sort of threat going forward apart from Alvarez and Griezmann. Especially with it being at the Emirates Stadium, I don't think we're going to be. I don't think we're going to have to be worried about the wings and that sort of stuff. I think we'll have it covered well. But on the other hand, it's Atletico Madrid. If you give them a goal, you could be losing that game, because they will not want to concede and they'll probably shut up shop. Now, don't forget they've beat Real Madrid 5-2 this season as well. So although we say it's an Atletico Madrid who like to defend well, so do we. So you can't write us off. We've conceded 3 goals in the whole season. So before we start looking at other teams and how well they defend, let's have a look and start with ourselves and see how good we are. But let's not take this game for granted, because this is a massive opportunity. We play on Tuesday this week, so we're playing one of the first games, especially being at the top. If we get 9 points, then look, we start to cement our spot there. Play Slavia Prague in 2 weeks' time. A 5:45 kickoff as well on Tuesday, and we'll be probably number 1 going into that game if we win it. And then 4 games remaining. It's a massive game. If we win this, we're more than likely qualified for the top 8. That's how big it is. But if we lose or draw, then we start to dip down, and the teams around us start to have a great opportunity in catching us, and we suddenly fall down the pecking order. It's quite mad that we've not actually played Atletico Madrid in the Champions League ever before. Considering how many years we've been in the Champions League, we've always avoided them. But look, we've played them in the Europa League, like I said. It was 2018, it was the semi-finals, I remember it well. We really, really wanted to win the Europa League. I think it was one of our first seasons in the Europa League, dropping from the Champions League because we've had a poor season. And then we played Atletico, and they had a red card early on in the first game at Emirates Stadium, and then we draw 1-1. We score with Lacazette, and then they equalise near the end, and they just defended for their lives. And then away we lost 1-0, and unfortunately we lost the tie 2-1 on aggregate, and then Atletico went on to win the Europa League. It's like the same with PSG last season. We got knocked out of the semis with them, and they won the Champions League. It's the same against Man United in 2008, was it? We knocked out at the semi-finals with Man United. They went and won the Champions League. So it could have been a different story. Win these semi-finals, you could potentially go on and win the final. It's a 50% chance. That's absolutely outrageous if you put it like that. So there's only been 2 games, and after the end of the game week, there's only going to be 3, and let's hopefully get a win against them at Emirates. We beat their town rivals really well, Real Madrid. Let's do the same with Atletico. Let's do a number on them and show them that, what, yes, people are slagging this game off, saying, both sort of managers going to defend and defend and defend. It's going to be the worst footballing watch of our lifetime. But it's not. It's going to be a good game, I feel it. It's Champions League. And Champions League nights are always great. And if we win this game, look, it's fucking outrageous how well we're playing at the minute in terms of getting results. So let's go for a win. And, let's get that fucking win. So the lineup then, again, is going to be quite interesting. It always is, because we do have quite a lot to choose from recently. But on the other hand, it's Atletico Madrid. We can't be making too many changes. Like, we can't be treating this game like it's a free pass, because it ain't. We lose this, all of a sudden, the pressure's on the Palace game. So, in net, David Raya plays. There's no question about that. He's coming on the back of like a few clean sheets, 3 on the bounce or something like that, I believe, or maybe 2. And then on the right, I would like to play Ben White in one of these games, because Timber's needed so badly for the Premier League. But Ben White at the minute, he didn't even come on against Fulham. I thought he may get 10 minutes, but I don't believe he was fully fit. And Arteta didn't want to risk him. So unfortunately, Timber's got to play again. And we've got to be very careful with him, because he's an unsung hero. But if he goes out, that right side is going to be a massive problem. We need him fit for the season. One of the best right-backs in the world right now. On the right-sided centre-back, it's Saliba. On the left, it's Gabriel. Mosquera and Hincap, unfortunately, they don't play this game. They could have a bit to play against Palace, but they'll definitely play in the Carabao Cup next week. On the left side, again, it's Calafiori. The guy's phenomenal at the minute. He's had a run of games this season, and look how good he's performing. Like, I feel safe when he's playing at the minute with Skelly. Although he plays similar to Calafiori in terms of going into midfield and, being that extra man, essentially. With Skelly, when he's 1v1, when he's exposed, he gets exposed badly. So, and don't forget, he's only 18 years old. He's got his whole career ahead of him. Right now, Calafiori has to start this game. He's on another level at this minute, and you know what? I'm so glad Arteta has bought him, because he offers that aerial ability as well, like Mikel Merino does in both boxes, especially when we're defending. Calafiori is one of the best headers about. So Calafiori needs to play, because I believe there will be a lot of long balls, and they're going to play in the transition. I believe Calafiori is the right man again. In midfield, Zubimendi plays. He knows Atletico well, and he's got to play this game. Rice has got to play this game. He's going to need a lot of running. Rice has got to play. The work he does off ball as well is on a different planet. On the right side of midfield, do we play Eze or do we play Mikel Merino? Now, I wouldn't even be mad if Merino starts this game. I really wouldn't, because, again, his aerial ability, and he's played Atletico many, many times, just like Zubimendi. I don't think it'll be a bad call for Arteta to make, because Eze's struggled a bit, but with it being at the Emirates, he's going to want to make a point. On the other hand, when Atletico, are going to, pump these long balls and, play physically, Mikel Merino defensively offers a lot more than what Eze is capable of offering defensively. So again, I'm a bit unsure of who I want to play there. Ranieri doesn't play this game, not at all, unfortunately. Just because it's at home, I'm going to go Eze. If this was away, Mikel Merino plays for me. But if Mikel Merino plays this game, don't get me wrong, I ain't mad at Arteta. So Eze plays this. Hopefully we can get a goal and Merino comes on at half-time or 60th minute, because I need to see Merino in this game. It suits him perfectly. In fact, I'm going to go Merino to start this game. I'm going to go Merino to start it. Right, on the right side, it's Saka. What a player. The fact that Gyökeres is now, on the toes of the two central defenders. Saka's got more freedom. He's got less players on him, and he's got more space. The amount of chances he created, the crosses, the balls he put in, the penalty that he won, but that got unfortunately overturned again. Saka was all over the pitch. Gyökeres plays again. He will get a goal sooner or later. He's ticking all the boxes apart from scoring or assisting. He's offering a lot in terms of, hold-up play, creating space and physicality. and offering another dimension, something where he gets in behind, unlike Havertz and Mikel Merino, where they like to drop deep. And then on the left, it's got to be Martinelli or Trossard, hasn't it? To me, it's got to be Martinelli. It's got to be Martinelli, because Martinelli's just, Trossard could play. He got us the winner, but let's keep everyone fresh. Martinelli plays this game. We've got to rotate. We can't keep playing the same team when, there's effectively no drop-off when we're changing players. So Martinelli plays this game. I think it's the perfect game for him. He's going to be up for it. He needs a goal as well, but not as much as Gyökeres does. And that's the lineup, and I think it's going to be, although people think it's going to be a proper defensive game, I believe there will be chances. They've got the likes of Alvarez, Griezmann. I know he's getting on a bit, but they've got that experience where they can, put one chance away if they need to. But I think Arsenal, we have to beat them. The pressure will be on them towards the end if we can't get a goal. And I think it's a different ball game since 2018, when we had the likes of Mustafi, Koscielny, players like that playing, Ospina in net. Believe it or not, it's a different ball game. There's so much control in the Arsenal side at the minute. You do not want to play against Arsenal, especially when we put our foot down. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I don't believe Atletico can score against us, and I believe we'll win 2-0. And depending on the other results, we'll be in the top 3 at least, depending on goal difference. So that's my prediction. Let me know what you think. I do believe we're going to win this game.